Welcome back to the Flow Cave. We might look a little bit weary right now. We've just finished the day 3 of the port to port and we're loving it, but we're a little bit rooted.
Today was a big day, for sure. 60 Ks. But Mick, lots of people frothing about the bike that you are riding. You built up something very special for this event.
I was lucky enough to choose what I wanted to ride. At the same time, the new Yeti SB100 was released, which is a bike that really took my interest. It's part of this new school XC race bike. 120 mils of fork, longer top tubes, shorter stems, and it's a bit more robust than a traditional XC race bike.
Yeah, we've seen a couple of others as well. Intense have released one recently, which I'm riding, the Sniper XC, plus the new Santa Cruz Blur as well, which sort of falls into that same kind of new school XC thing that's happening. XC is cool again.
XC is hardcore.
You spent a fair bit of time looking at how you wanted to spec this bike, I know. There was some very considered choices made when you were choosing the parts that you were going to run on it.
It's a 4-day stage race, so a few of those spec choices and setup were because it's 4 days.
Yeah.
It's a bit unpredictable, and we're not racing an hour and a half World Cup course.
No.
So those guys ride a very different bike to how I would like to ride 4 days. Starting at the front, the new Fox 34 120mm step cast fork. It's new because 120mm would traditionally be with a 32mm leg, the smaller diameter stanchion. So a 34 you'd see a lot more common on a all-mountain sort of trail bike. And the step cast means their lower leg steps in, so it's actually quite lightweight, but nice and robust at 120mm. So this front end feels like you're on a trail bike.
You haven't noticed any difference to a traditional 34 fork?
Feels like a 34 fork, just shorter travel. So it's under braking and under steering, you don't have a lot of shuddering and diving, and it doesn't feel it doesn't feel heavy. It's a nice little middle ground for a cross country race bike for a heavier rider, or a cross country race bike who someone likes to go a bit harder.
Yeah, totally. Do you want to talk to us about how you've set that fork up?
Cool. So it's definitely over 4 days. You probably want to have you want to minimise fatigue and transferring shock and stuff through to your hands. You don't want to be cramping in your hands over 4 days. I'm carrying a bit of a wrist injury over early this year, so I'm conscious of saving my soul there. I've taken out a token.
Yep.
And
so are there any tokens in that fork?
They come with 2.
Okay.
So I've taken out 1.
Yeah.
I took out 2, and it was bottoming out like crazy with the same amount of fork pressure. So I've put 1 back in, so there's only 1 in there now, and it gives me a nice balance of it's going to bottom out. Hit the bottom over a big jump. But over 4 days of cross country racing, big jumps don't happen all the time, and I'm all about sort of single track riding, seated. Nice, comfortable position.
Comfortable, that's the key word, I think. Hey, like reducing fatigue, reducing shock, and as you said, you're not hacking off things.
With the fork also you have the ability to dial in the slow speed compression, which is this little black dial here. With such a linear fork rate with only 1 token in there and the same amount of fork pressure, probably a little bit less than recommended, the low speed compression wound almost all the way on.
Wow.
Feels like it holds itself up a bit higher, doesn't sort of bounce around too much when it's open. So it's a nice, I feel very comfortable, and this fork just has probably saved my wrists.
It's a great comment on the low speed compression, because I think that a lot of people don't utilise that enough. They rely on the pressure too much rather than using the amazing damping that you have with all the new Fox forks.
Yeah, it's pretty nifty. Stay at the front here. We have the Schwalbe Rocket Ron tyre with the Addicts compound, red stripe for going fast.
Ooh, go fast compound.
Yeah, it's a spiky open tread tyre, and at the back is a Racing Ralph's. My motivation behind my Rocket Ron was to try and recreate my favourite combination on my trail bike, which is the Magic Mary and Nobby Nick. And
you do love the Mary.
I do love the Magic Mary. It is magic, and my mum's name is Mary. I guess traditionally an open tread tyre like this would suit a softer soil. Even though it's bone dry, it is loose and a lot of dust sitting on top of the track. And whilst it doesn't have that kind of friction of a close compound tyre, it has a bite that I'm really enjoying riding, and it's very predictable, and you can really feel when it's biting and when it's not.
Cool. Rocket Runs have come a long way.
The Rocket Run used to be one of my least favourite tyres.
It was the Faceplants Express.
But they've inside the tyres we're running the new Finish Line sealant, which has boldly claimed that the sealant doesn't dry out and it lasts the life of the tyre. Which
that doesn't mean you should try and run your tyres for 10,000 kilometres though.
No, don't work on your WTB Velociraptors.
These wheels, these Bontrager's, you've been running these on your trail bike for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
I've been hammering them for a very long time. These are not cross-country race bike wheels. These are sort of positioned at the trail all mountain rider. The Bontrager Line 30. The 30 or 29mm internal rim gives a nice sort of, good solid sort of profile for the tyre to sit on. And yeah, they've been fantastic. While they're about 1700-ish grams, and
pretty
a cross-country race bike wheel set you'd hope to be sort of under 1400-ish. You pay a bit of a penalty, but yeah, today I was absolutely hammering them, and the bike just doesn't skip around, or when you lock up the wheel and slide it sideways, it doesn't bounce across the terrain. It's it feels really strong.
Lets you run pretty low pressures, I guess, too.
Yeah, I have been running 19 and 20 psi in the tyres, which I think, for my svelte figure is quite low. Yes, the grips are uneven. I have one sore wrist and the other one's totally fine. We have the GA3 and a GE1 grip from Ergon. The GA3 has quite a pronounced wing on it, which gives the palm a whole lot more support, whilst the GE1 is probably my favourite grip of all time. It's on a lot of the bikes here. I've got one sore wrist, the other one's totally fine. So what I'm running on the right hand side gives me a bit more fatigue, sort of respite, you'd say. Yeah, a lot more support. Alright, and while we're here, we have the SRAM Level Ultimate brakes. I mean, these brakes have not been my favourite choice on trail bikes. They don't sort of manage the heat as well as the Guide or some of the Shimano brakes, but they feel beautiful under the finger. They're always very consistent, and I've bled them to perfection, and they got a lot of bite. So whilst they don't sort of maintain the power over super long descents, we're not doing super long descents over 4 days of stage racing, so that's a great choice for a cross-country bike.
Now, you are running a dropper post.
Of course. You'd be absolutely bonkers not to ride a dropper post on a stage race when you don't really know exactly what's coming up.
Totally.
Yeah.
We saw multiple crashes today that could have been avoided if people were running dropper posts.
Absolutely.
How much are you saving? 200 grams? 300 grams?
Don't even care.
You lose 300 grams in blood.
Yes.
Because of the crashes that you have, you're not running it. I'd take the dropper post.
And some of those long fire road descents where I was getting that down nice and low for an aero tuck instead of putting yourself in an awkward position and holding it. I was dropping my seat down and nice and low. And also over 4 days, sometimes it's nice to change your saddle height, use different muscles in your legs.
Totally.
Drop it down 2 centimetres for kilometre or two and pop it back up again. It's the Fox transfer. This is actually the original transfer that came to us when they first launched. So it's a little bit of rattle.
How old's that post?
Oh, I'm not sure. 3 years.
Holy moly!
Yeah, it's been really good.
In a stage race, there's always the question of how you're going to carry your gear.
I'm using this Backcountry race strap system, which is pretty much just a Velcro strap, perfectly designed to be carrying pretty much anything you want to jam in there. I've got a spare tube, a Dynaplug racer plug for my tubeless tyres, a multi-tool, and inside the tube is a 12-speed quick link from my SRAM chain.
And a CO2?
And a CO2.
Yeah, perfect.
Pump that tube up. And it's nice. It's not super fast to get on and off, but
it looks secure.
It's secure, and it's always going to be there.
And after I lost my little pack on the stage yesterday and had my tube flapping all through my rear wheel, I wish I had one of those things too.
The cockpit, we have a Pro Tharsis bar. I really like this handlebar. It fits nice. It's a 760mm wide. One guy was commenting on how wide my bars were today, but I'm like, maybe it's just because I have narrow shoulders. Envy stem, because it's cool, and it's also 55mm. Might check out the geometry chart on the Yeti spec, and a lot of the bikes are coming in 55mm. This is the cockpit straight off my trail bike. To get the handlebars in a nice sort of XC racy position, I flip the stem and drop the stem down on the steer tube.
Drivetrain.
For the drivetrain, we are using the SRAM XX1 Eagle.
In the gold.
It's in gold. It looks $1 million. Makes the bike look even flasher.
Yeah.
But it is a drivetrain with a great reputation. I have had fantastic experience with this one in particular. This is exactly the same drivetrain I've been using for quite a long time. It's come off my trail bike too. My poor trail bike sitting over there missing a whole bunch of parts. Sorry. But yeah, it's been fantastic, and I downsized the chainring which came with it. Came with 34. Yep. Got a 32 on there because...
Smart. Because we're not trying to win this thing, we just want to get up the climbs.
Kind of you to say. I was going to say because I'm weak. No way. It's a gear low. 4 days. Yeah. Why would you not want to?
Totally. You are going to make up so much more time by being able to get up the climbs than you are by eking out that extra 2 or 3 k's an hour on a couple of descents.
One thing a lot of people are pretty excited about, this Yeti, you can take one of these.
Ooh, a water bottle!
Not many Yetis have been able to fit a water bottle due to their suspension system. So with this new suspension system, with the shock joining the top tube, water bottle, no worries.
Obviously the frame's been getting a lot of attention, but it hasn't been without a couple of frustrations for you.
No, we've developed a bit of a creak over the race. It's been super bone dry. Something coming out of the switch infinity linkage area. So we've rebuilt the bike twice. Still there. We've been informed by Yeti that the tolerances in the infinity old mate mid-jiggy system need some revision. So a part is already on its way to us, and I'm sure that any Yetis going out from now or from last week onwards will be fine. Alright, so that's our Yeti SB100. We're going to try and hang on to this bike as long as possible, obviously, because it's pretty sweet. And it's a bike that I am going to really enjoy riding on my regular trails, just at a little bit faster speed. I think we're going to see a lot more bikes like this emerge, shorter travel, but wider capability. I'm really excited about it. I've always enjoyed a mid-travel 29er versus a long-travel 29er. You might get a bit wild in sections, but it's a lot more engaging, and you don't feel so isolated from the terrain. I'm really enjoying that type of bike at the moment. Yeah,
it's a good way to make old trails really exciting again.
That's right.
We'll see some of you out there at the Port to Port next year, we hope, as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Get there.
Definitely.